Hi, my name is Michelle. This is June 14th, 2016, and this is my myomectomy story. I was diagnosed with uterine fibroids about 6 or 7 years ago. My doctor told me that I had, the largest one I had at the time was about 6 centimeters, which is pretty large, but it's not like over capacity. So they recommended, of course, watchful waiting, which I chose to do because I did not want to have a surgery. I felt like that was just a lot, especially seeing um, I didn't have any children, and I wasn't even with anybody at the time, dating or anything. Or maybe I had just started dating. I might have just started dating. I think I just started dating at that time, but that was it. And so, I knew I'd always had painful periods. So that was nothing new telling me that, oh, that might be causing pain. I've had painful periods since I started my period, and I was at 11. um, so that was quite a few years ago, 20, almost 30 years ago. So anyway, long story short. So anyway, I had my period. I would have them and they were always painful. So over time, I guess beginning of this year, I started to kind of get really tired. My doctor had started recommending I need to have surgery, I need to have a myomectomy, I need to have it removed, and blah, blah, blah. And I started to kind of get a little tired as the of the periods being so painful and me missing days of work and things like that. And it just started to kind of get a little overwhelming for me because I've been doing it for so long. So January of this year, I had a really, really painful period. It was just one of those where you're just like, ugh. And so I just decided then, I was like, okay, I wanted to have the surgery. So I called my doctor to have the surgery, and come to find out my doctor had gotten sick and she was closing her practice because she was pretty sick. And so she was closing her practice, and they were not going to be, she wasn't taking any more patients. She wasn't doing anything. She was literally closing her practice that very week. Like she had gotten sick. And so I was like, oh man. So, I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't really want to deal with these periods anymore. So one of my coworkers suggested a doctor, and I looked online. Of course, all the reviews were excellent. So I decided then that I was going to go see the doctor. Well, that was in January, I think around the 16th of January this year. Well, the doctor couldn't see me till March 30th of this year. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do in that time? So what I did was I went and I started to change my diet. I just felt like the Lord was leading me to change my diet. So I really went very pescatarian, eating nothing but organic, fresh fruits, vegetables, and beans and things like that. And then I would eat fresh fish. But only certain fresh fish like salmon and I think tuna, mackerel, stuff like that. So anyways, well, I would eat some of the tuna in the can too. Anyways, that helped a lot. My cycle I went from taking 6 ibuprofen every time that I had a period to taking like 1 or 2. And sometimes I wouldn't take any. So it helped a lot. I mean, it tremendously changed things for me. So, and I lost buku weight. I think I lost like 12, 15 pounds, like just in that time. So anyways, I went to see the doctor. She told me the same thing. Oh, well, by this time, now mind you, when I started out, I had about 6 centimeters fibroid. Well, in this time, my fibroid has gone from 6 to 12 centimeters. It is huge, large, and I can actually feel it on the left-hand side of me. Let me show you. I have a box. This is the exact size of it, and this is the exact size that it was. It was exactly this size. This is what it was, 12 centimeters. And the width and everything, I can show you a picture of, but this is how big. Sorry, this is Gas X, but this is exactly how big. Now you can see how large that fibroid is. That is pretty big. So that was the size of the fibroid. And so she suggested again that I have removed, and I didn't want it removed at the time. So this was March 30th. I go to see her. Well, my period was supposed to start April 7th, and it did not come. So my husband was like, oh, maybe you're pregnant. And I was like, no, I had taken. So I was taking tests, and they all came back negative. I went to the doctor and took a blood test, and they came back negative. So then I was supposed to start April 7th. I did not start till April 26th. when I started April 26th, I did not stop. I mean, it was clotting and blood just, I mean, never like that before. And so I go to I made a doctor's appointment when I had been on my period for 8 days, because I know my body and I know I only go 5 to 6 days. That's it. For me to be on there 8 days and for it to be coming out profusely, something is wrong. And I knew that. So, I went to the doctor and she said, okay, I really think you need to have the surgery. So by then I'm like, okay, let me have the surgery because I can't deal with this. Painful periods was one thing, but bleeding profusely, and I was on my period. I think I wound up being on there for 23 days. Yeah, can't do it. No, I'm not about that life. So we scheduled the surgery for May 18th, and I wound up having the surgery. And the surgery went very well. I was not nervous. I was nervous, honestly, this is just me. I was more nervous about the financial side of it. I think when I first decided I was going to have the surgery, I was a little nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what if, anesthesia, they overdo the anesthesia and I don't wake up. And then it kind of dawned on me, I felt like that's actually one of the best ways to go, to not even know that you don't wake, to just, that was one of the best ways. So I was like, okay, I became very comfortable with that. That's one of the better ways to go. So then I went from that, and this was about a 2-week turnaround from the time we decided to have the surgery to the time I actually had the surgery. Now, remember, I started my period on April 26th. So by the time I went to the doctor, it was like the beginning of May, or maybe the end of, I think it was like the beginning of May. And so it was like a 2-week turnaround. We decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and have the surgery. We're going to schedule, blah, blah, blah. So then the first week I was a little worried about the, possibilities. Then the second week, my main concern was the finances. Like, how are we going to make this and that and the other? And, my husband, he helps out. We work on everything together, but still my income is a big chunk of our income. So I was worried about that, blah, blah, blah. So then I went from that to just trying to make sure. And these are the stages I went through. And of course, I was just praying the whole time and just believing God to bring me through. But I went from that to trying to make sure that everybody that was with me at the hospital had somebody there with them just in case something went wrong. So I made sure my mom was there. My sisters were there to comfort her if something goes wrong. And my husband was there, made sure his mom was there with him. So if something goes wrong, I would be okay. Like I said, I'll sleep on into eternity. But those that are left behind, I want to make sure that they will all be, okay. So the morning of the surgery, I got there. I had to be there for 5 because I was going to be her first surgery. And my husband said, I've never seen anybody so excited about surgery. I was a little excited. I couldn't wait to get it over with, for it to be done, and me not to have to deal with these anymore, because up till now they had been such a, I hate to say, thorn in my side, but literally the one had gotten this large was literally on the left hand side. Let me stand up and show you. So I could feel it like right in here. I could feel it like it was in here, and I think it was to the back some too, but I could feel it like right in this area, a lot of it. So it was large and painful. And I had to show you the pictures. They got it out. They got everything. She removed 6. She said it might be some little ones still on the inside. It was not bad to me at all. To me, the worst part of the whole process was the anesthesia, because I had a hard time waking up, and I've never done drugs or alcohol or anything like that. So for me, that was just like, seriously. And then the gas. That's why we have this, because the first 3 days were horrific to me on the gas level. They were just, that was the hardest part. But the incision never really bothered me. I mean, I still, I get sore sometimes, but it's only been in 4 weeks or almost 4 weeks and things like that. But it was never anything just crucial. It was just, things like that. So I think, but overall it was fine. I went home the very next day. I got up that day and went I got up and went to the bathroom by myself. My husband would help, as he could, but I tried not to make him, do too much because I didn't want him to get tired of doing for me. So I would get up where I could. I take everything off that I needed to take off, go to the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. We stayed, my mother-in-law was a jewel. We stayed at her house. Her and my father-in-law let me stay there. And I would get in and out you know, and so I never really mine was not anything bad at all. The pain wasn't ever severe. I never had to really dope up on medicine. If I would feel pain, of course, I would take some medicine. But the main thing for me was the anesthesia, the day of the surgery, and the gas. Oh, those two. And probably I'm not afraid of needles or anything, but they poked me so much because I had lost a lot of blood. Thank God I didn't have to do a transfusion, but I lost a lot of blood. And so as a result, they kept coming in and checking my blood. And I told my husband, if I ever have to go down that road again, like when we get pregnant and because that's our next level, trying to get pregnant. If I ever have to go down that road again and do the surgery, and I would say this to anybody, do your own, donate blood to yourself or have a family member donate blood, so that if you have to do a transfusion, I prefer to try to have as much of my own blood as possible or somebody else's in my family's blood. Not to say anybody else's blood isn't clean, but I'm just, if I can, like, this wasn't one of those life or death situations where you just lost a lot of blood and, that's just the end of it. I had kind of prepared for this. And so had I prepared better, I would have donated my own blood. But thank God I didn't have to do a transfusion. Everything went well, so I never had to do a transfusion. But again, they say hindsight is 20/20. If I had it to do over again, and like I said, even when the Lord bless us and we go down the pregnancy road, I'm gonna have to have a C-section. I plan on donating my own blood or having a family member donate blood so that I don't have to get a transfusion and have, other people's blood. And I think that's the only thing I really would have done differently. Other than that, I'd say it was a success. I'm 4 weeks post-op tomorrow, which will be June 15th. I'll be 4 weeks, but it's every Wednesday because I had on a Wednesday. 4 weeks post-op then, and I'm doing pretty good. I go back to work on Monday, week 5. That'd be 5 weeks post-op, and I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to trying to have a baby. Excuse me. I'm getting older, so the idea of having one, it kind of makes me happy. But that's it. I just wanted to kind of encourage anybody. Don't be afraid. Find a good doctor. I will say that. Find a good doctor that can do a good job with your incision and everything, because I've read some horror stories of people had doctors and they kind of botched them up, I guess, for lack of a better word. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that everything goes smooth. She did a really good job. I think my doctor did. And I'm feeling pretty good. So that's about it. I just wanted to kind of share that story. If anybody had any questions or comments, you can feel free, and I'll try to answer the best I can. But it went very well, and I thank God for being in there in the operating room. Like I said, if my worst complaint is the anesthesia and the gas, then the surgery went very well, and I thank God for it. So have a great day. Thank you. And be blessed, and Lord willing, I will talk to you. And if you have any comments, just leave them below.